Hey guys, I wanted to do another book review on the 4 Hour Workweek by Timothy Ferriss. Um, Very cool book. It, first of all, it was kind of a fun read because of who Tim is. That he's a little bit, you know, wild at times, done some crazy things in in his life. I should say lives because it sounds like he's like a cat. But he's lived in several countries for short periods of time and been a fighter and a dancer and all kinds of stuff. Like he's just had tons of adventures, and that's the whole premise for his book. Is that like if you can cut your work week down to a minimalist type lifestyle, free up your time and your money, then you can go on these mini retirements and live a life that's full of excitement and thrill and learning and things. And so like you take these retirement periods throughout your life rather than working 9 to 5 so that someday you'll get there, right? So a lot of the book, a ton of like the second half of the book is basically like how-to resources. Like he'll have websites you can go to, places you can go to outsource things, find a secretary that's outsourced, find, all these things to help you manage your emails, help you manage your phone calls. He gives his own personal things that he uses as like voicemail responders or automatic email responders. And just tons of things where you can find good resources to help you live a life like he does. So the 4 Hour Work Week is a really cool book. And it's based around I believe what he calls the 4 W's, which are to give you the freedom to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, where you want to do it, with whom you want to do it. Which, in my personal opinion, that's where happiness is found, right? Is like building good relationships, doing fun things with people you love. Like in what's the name of that study that's been going for like 70 years? They followed a group of school kids through their lives. Every year they send them like basically just a survey that asks them questions. How much money do you make? How many kids? Are you married, divorced, death in the family, whatever. It just is a big survey that kind of comprehensively asks questions about their lives. And through these people in 70 or so years of following them, the only correlation between the people who are happy is they have good relationships with people that they love. They haven't had less trauma or less death or, you know, things like that. It's strictly they have good relationships with people they love. And so if you have the freedom to do what you want, where you want, when you want, with the people whom you want to do it with, that's a good place to find joy. So I like kind of the premise of the book and the idea behind freeing yourself to go find moments of excitement with people you love and all that. So it's really interesting, and he helps you kind of dream build, define your goals, and he calls it dreamlining instead of like streamlining or goal setting, because goals are usually, at least in what I got from it, is that goals are kind of like these obtainable things, and dreams are these big, giant, lofty things that most people don't think are reality. But dreamlining adds a timeline to your dreams and helps you achieve them. And he says that there's less competition up high. Like most people shoot for like mediocre, and so the crowd is there, and that's where the competition is. But if you'll shoot above the crowd, higher up, try to make contact with the wealthiest, the most successful, try and do the biggest things, the greatest, plans. There's fewer people shooting for it because it seems unobtainable, and so you'll have just as much success going huge as you will going mediocre. So he lives big, and he teaches others to live big. But a very valuable book in the amount of resources that he provides and ways to cut out the junk from your life. He's major on the 80-20 principle, where 80% of your productivity and money and all those things come from basically 20% of effort and clients. So in his business, he was running an online business, and he was just at it round the clock, like constantly on his computer, on the phone, trying to keep up. And then he kind of was fed up, and he just got sick of like the constant hustle. Even though he was making money, he couldn't spend it. He didn't enjoy life. He wasn't that happy. So he took a big giant vacation, and about that same time, he decided, like, I'm just going to get rid of the clients that cause me the most headaches. And it turns out that those were also pretty much all the clients that made him the least money. So he got rid of them, and then he took care. He had fewer clients to take care of, and they were the high payers. And so he was able to provide good customer service to the good customers, and freed himself from several, headache inducing clients. And he was more free, he was more happy, he didn't have to deal with that. So he applied that to pretty much every piece of his life, and cut out a ton of junk. I watched a documentary the other day I think it's called Minimalism. And basically, like we do so much to have more junk that takes more time. Like Tim, he uses the example that, like, he says, usually having more means you'll have to do more of what you don't want to do in order to have that thing, right? So, like, in my little article, I said, if you go buy a new car, well, cars aren't cheap. So unless you make a ton of money, you're not just going to go drop a day's salary on a car and be happy and good with your car, right? So it's going to cause you to go to work day after day to make a payment on a car that doesn't continually bring more and more happiness. It's like there's some joy that you get from it, but if you already had a car, a newer, better one doesn't give you a ton more joy, but it does create a lot more work. So doing more of what you don't want to do in order to have something, whereas if you already have a car, you've got a moderate car or an inexpensive car, you'll still be able to use it, which the use is what brings the joy. The fact that you can comfortably, get from point A to point B, that you can show up to your job on time, things like that. But the real joy is being free, both financially and with your time, to enjoy your life. So minimalism is a really it's kind of hard to wrap your head around at times, but it's so true. Like, in that sense, that's where less is more. It really is more. Like, most people don't like their jobs, and most people, in a survey I read, of all income levels, they asked, what would be your ideal income? And every single income level, the average was 18% more. If I could get 18% more, I'd be happy. Well, rich people are making more than 18% more than the bottom half, but everybody still wanted 18% more. It's not about how much you have, it's about the things you can do with your time, the excitement you have in your life, the people you love, the relationships you have. So there's two ways to buy happiness with money, and that is doing something fun with people you love and charity. So if you're not doing those two things with your extra money, if you're just buying a bigger, better house, a bigger, better, nicer car, more guitars, more gym passes and nicer tables and fridge and redoing your kitchen and all that stuff, you're not actually adding to your life. You're just adding fluff that will cause more maintenance, more headaches, more stress, and you're still going to have to go to work to make up the difference, and you're basically burying yourself in a hole. It's an illusion. So really interesting. I'm kind of getting off on a side show here, because that's not totally what Tim's talking about, but he does go with the minimalism, and he even talks about taking periods of voluntary poverty where you kind of reality check and find out, like, what's really important to you, what do you need, what gives you joy in life, and be grateful for what you have. When you take these moments of poverty living, like if you live live that way where you have almost nothing except like, the bare essentials, you become grateful for what you have, and you also see how much of what you have is totally unnecessary and just cluttering your life. The more you have in your house, the more time you spend cleaning. It's just, anyway, you get the point. So, cool book. Tim Ferriss is a cool guy. I follow his social media accounts, and he's always got these really cool things, and he's always on some adventure. So, he's become like an angel investor, and he's written other books and had reality stuff. He's interesting. So, anyway, check it out. Head over to the website and see what I've done there. I've got other book reviews, so you can subscribe to this channel to continue to get those updates on books that I read and review, and most of which have to do with success, whether it's financially, familially, personal, like growth, things like that. So anyway, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and head over to the website and check it out. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks.